Hello, welcome to the 11th day of August 2025. My name is Kurt and this is my daily Good Life meditation, a video live exercise that I do every morning a little bit after 5:30 a.m. to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can read for free at goingalone.org. I also use this time to think about yesterday and how I did with any interesting challenges or opportunities that I met, where interesting is defined as challenges or opportunities where I either met them well or failed to meet them well, because both warrant examination towards the ends of improvement. I think about the coming day and reflect upon my creed. But let's get started and first say hello to lots of new subscribers to the channel. Hello, welcome. Whenever I get a nice big wave of new subscribers, I always like to do a quick bio and introduction. I'm Kurt. I'm a 61-year-old American living in Shizuoka, Japan, in the outskirts of the city, here at this home that my wife and I bought about 6 months ago. And my wife and I are retired. She's Japanese, and we're about 7 going on to 8 months into our retired in earnest endeavor, adjusting to life here. I was an IT project manager before that, in a long line of various things that I've done, but most of my most profitable working years were in IT. I would contrast that with my struggling years. I've had lots of struggling years of work and very profitable years of work, not a lot in between. I wrote a book called Going Alone, which is the foundation of pretty much everything that I do now. All of the videos that I do reflect upon and are illustrative of the values that I shared in the book and attempt to live out in the course of my days and communicate through my videos. Okay, that's enough of a biography, I think. I do talk about sensitive things in this particular video series. Yeah, one more thing. If you look at my feed, if you're a new subscriber, and you see a video that has my face on it, and the title is The Good Life, that's one of these personal videos that I do every day. You'll see one of these every day. You're welcome to watch and leave comments and criticisms, but be warned that it's nothing more than me talking aloud into my diary. So if you're interested in that, hang out. If not, then there's other content that might interest you. I have lots of old content about Japan and some newer content about Japan as well. I do want to say thank you as well to my viewers and my supporters on YouTube and Patreon. I appreciate that. All right, let's get into it. I do read and respond to comments, but not until the end. Into the note of the last 24 hours, I have an interesting, just one little note here. It says, safe inside the veil of work. I feel safe now after more than half a year of being retired, struggling with that. I feel safe now that I'm working again. Like I can handle this, which is a benefit, and it feels like a win-win in every capacity. Oh, by the way, the rain in this particular storm is coming in, sheets. So if I suddenly have to scramble and put everything away, that's what happens. I'm going to keep an eye on it. The weather's coming this way. Oh, and I forgot to mention the weather at about 5:40? No, 5:35 a.m. It is 28 degrees and 82% humidity. 28 degrees and 82% humidity. Just a little bit cloying. 28 degrees and 82%. Cloying might not be the right word, but it feels cloying. It feels like it's about to become, it's going from, it's like that when the bath gets too hot, and there's that moment when it's like, I think it's too hot. That's how it feels. The weather could be too uncomfortable soon. But back to the note. Safe inside the veil of work. If you follow these videos even a little bit, you've probably apprehended that I'm struggling with being free. Not working and having my days to myself turns out to be more of a challenge than I'm actually up to. So I've gone back to work. I started an online business, one that I ran before. I'm familiar with. I actually enjoy selling antiques and Japanese merchandise. And I've dove into that headlong and maybe a little too far. even consuming my weekends now. But yesterday as Yumiko wasn't feeling so good. I started off feeling a little bit iffy, but I got better quick. So Yumiko was kind of resting all day, so canceled all of our plans to do anything fun on Sunday, and I just worked. I literally, I redid the room, worked on moving my business accounting from spreadsheets into business accounting software, QuickBooks Online, and also worked on improving my shipping processes and methodology, including a couple of outings to pick up goods for shipping. In all of that, I felt very safe, like I was deep within a process that I've long been familiar with, work, and that makes me happy. Well, and now it makes me happy. Previously, it made me feel secure. It made me feel like I was making good use of my time. It didn't make me feel very happy before because I was too stressed out when I was working to support a family. But now that I don't have to work, here comes the rain. Now that I don't have to work to support a family, it's fun because I can control it. Like, for example, heading into the weekend, I knew that I was going to make some changes to the business. So I turned off all promotions on my 2 sales venues and to basically slow down sales. Now, sales still came in, but they were fewer, more manageable, and more profitable as a result of no promotions. So it's interesting. I'm getting better at understanding where the levers of the business are, what to tune, what to switch on, what to switch off, how to engage with marketing better, understanding my customers, the dynamics of large numbers, all that kind of stuff. I'm learning about all of it. So I basically I dialed back the RPM. If it was a throttle on a car, I let off on the accelerator so that I could have a little bit of time to focus on the aforementioned improvements. And in the midst of all of that, I realized that I felt safe inside this veil, this cocoon, this bubble of work, which is, as I'm repeating myself now, a win-win to the extent that it gives me a purpose in life that's a tactile, tangible purpose, one that I enjoy. It may not be very philosophically challenging. It may not be the purpose that I would hope that I would rise to in retirement in the August of my life. This ain't August. This is September. This is October maybe. But it'll do. It'll do, and it's good, and I feel happy. I like it. So yeah, I'll stick with it. Nothing more to say. I feel safe here. Boy, but it makes a big difference not to have to work for it, not to have to rely on it, right? Just to have fun with it. I couldn't do this when I was running the same business before because I needed to support a family. I couldn't dial back the engine, right? That's an interesting way to think about it. I wrote in my blog post this morning that it felt experience of dialing the business engine back over the weekend felt like taking the car, my project car, into the garage to tinker, lift the hood and tinker with the engine a little bit, turn the engine off, tinker with it. Okay, now I'm done. Close the hood down. If you've ever done this, and then go out and take it for a spin around the block to see how it runs, listening to the engine. That's exactly how it felt this weekend doing that. It's fun to do that. Whereas before, when I had this business, I couldn't take it into the garage and turn it off because I needed to make money to pay the rent, pay my daughter's tuition, buy food, take care of my family. It was like trying to tune the car as it's rolling down the street. That wasn't any fun at all. You get the point. Okay, turning now to my creed, my 8 objectives. And let's take a look at the book, Going Alone, in the chapter titled The Good Life. My 8 objectives are as follows. Number 1 is to be always ready to die. This means that I need to have my affairs in order, my relationship sound, and my life's work complete. Now, something did happen interesting yesterday, or actually it was this morning, that speaks to that. I often speak of readiness for death. It's one of the things that makes people uncomfortable when I bring it up, which I bring it up every day. And I ask myself, am I ready to die? And I keep telling you over and over, if you watch these videos with any regularity, yeah, I'm ready to die. My affairs are in order. My relationships are in good shape. And my life's work is not just in a good state, it's completely done. Going Alone is written, edited, complete. I've reread it at least a dozen times to find out if there's anything I want to change, and there isn't. It's every word is exactly where I want it. So yeah, I'm ready to die. But then something happened this morning. I was editing the Retiring in Japan video, which is the other daily video that I do. Retiring in Japan is a daily upload that is a capturing the moments of the day throughout the day of this retired life in Japan. It started off as a journal of the experience of moving to Japan and starting up retired life here, and has become in its current season, season 3, Kanohi Days. Kanohi is just a Japanese word. Kanohe, it means every day. It's just my everyday life now as a retired man in Japan. Because even though I'm working, even though I started my business, I'm still retired. You know, I don't have to do that business. I can enjoy my days, but I choose to. But something happened this morning that caused me to lift my eyebrows. Whoa, what's that? I started editing the video for yesterday's Retiring in Japan. And so what happens is during the course of the day, I have this phone and I go through the day and I lift the camera and I record a few events, usually a dozen to 2 dozen snippets of videos that I then, when I wake up in the morning, I piece together, I edit together in a very simple, patchy way, and then produce that, and that's my Retiring in Japan video, and I upload that and write a blog post to go with it. I do all of that before I do this video. That's why one of the things I'm doing when I'm up at 4 a.m. is getting that done, as well as responding to all YouTube and social media comments. I get a lot done early in the morning. Anyway, I was going through this morning's editing of yesterday's clips, and I got to the halfway mark, and the video started. The clip that I looked at said, "Welcome to Retiring in Japan for the 11th day," I got the date wrong before. I was wearing the same shirt. Well, wait a minute, because that's how I begin all the videos. Welcome to Retiring in Japan. I begin them all exactly the same. And I remember that I did that in the morning. I had a welcome to Retiring in Japan. I must have had it zipped back on the editor, and I looked at the clip, and sure enough, there in the morning I said welcome, and I had like 10 minutes worth of clips from the morning when I'd said welcome to Retiring in Japan until noon, dog walk, when I said welcome to Retiring in Japan. Here's the rub. I remember making that second clip, and now I remember making the first clip too, kicking the video off with welcome to Retiring in Japan. But yesterday at around after lunch, when I made it, I didn't remember that I had made all those clips in the morning. That's a little bit worrying. Where did those memories go? See, that's the kind of thing when I say that it's interesting to say I'm ready for death, but to be tested is something else. So immediately when I apprehended that and I saw this and I realized, and I went back and found, yeah, I did make those. I made 10 minutes worth of video before I started the day's clips again in the afternoon. It's like Groundhog Day all over again. What the hell happened there? So I wasn't concerned about that. I just deleted all the morning stuff because it was kind of crap anyway. It's just me under the umbrella talking blah, blah, blah. Although I was tempted to keep, maybe I should have done that. It's too late now. I was tempted to keep the original stuff in and then have the afternoon stuff. I should have done that. In hindsight, if this happens again, I'm going to do that. Because that's more illustrative of Kanohi Days, right? The everyday. Because that is significant. That would be the undertone of the whole video is, what the hell happened? Why did I introduce the video twice? Okay, note to self, if you have significant things happen in your video that might be revelatory of cognitive decline or confusion or something else occurred, keep it in, because you want that evidence. I should have kept it in. Now back to the point though of being always ready to die. Could this be an initial sign of dementia creeping in at last? I don't know. So I went there real quick as it happened, and I thought, put down the phone, and I thought, well, Kurt, think about it. What if this is the first sign? What if, because that's how it happens, right? And you start to notice stuff, and usually the person that's noticing it notices it internally before anybody else notices it. I had to ask myself, okay, are you ready? Are you ready to go down hard with dementia, Kurt? Are you ready to do that? And I thought about it for a second, and I thought, well, Yumiko, and the first thought was, If that happens, Yumiko will be taken care of. My pension will. This is where I talk personal stuff, but it's my video, it's my journal. I've got my pension set up that Yumiko is 100% beneficiary after I die, plus my Social Security will also be the same. And she won't get 100%, but she'll get beneficiary days, and she'll be fine with just my pension. And plus, we have our savings. So yeah, Yumiko will be fine. I don't have to. That's all I had to. That's all I had to think about. And then I thought, my book's done, my kid's grown. Yeah, bring it on. Moments like that are meaningful to me. When I get a real chance to look death and disability in the eye. Plus, not only that, I had a talk with Emily last weekend when she was here, and the subject came up. And I told her, I wasn't going fishing for this opportunity. It just literally just came up, and there I told Emily, I said, if something ever happens to me and I become unable to decide for myself, I want you, Emily, my daughter, to put me in a home the first chance you get when I become a pain in the butt. So not only are my affairs in order, my relationships sound, and my life's work complete, but my last wish with regard to what I want to happen should I become a drooling, slobbery mess. I don't want to be a burden to my family. Get me in the home. I got that message out there too. So yeah, I think I'm okay. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to. I hope it isn't painful. I hope it isn't confusing and lost and all that stuff. But we'll see. Okay, so that was a lot to cover, just the first objective. The second objective is to make good and effective use of my time so that I don't waste my life. 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, which is exactly what I spent 8 years doing, writing and editing this book. Next is to cultivate good emotional reactions, so I'm responding well to what happens throughout the day, the challenges especially. 5 is performing good actions relative to my values. 6 is to recognize my true limits and true opportunities, so I know what I can and cannot do. 7 is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, just as I'm doing right now. This is not how I normally behave. What you're seeing now, this deliberate, measured tones, measured actions, even the way I'm using my hands, all of this is contrived. This is an act. This is not me. Although I've been doing it now for so many years now that it's probably become me. But I remember what I used to be. I was kind of a hyperactive, spastic, off the cuff, shooting from the hip kind of guy. And I trained myself to not be like that. And it doesn't feel disingenuous. I don't feel like I'm not who I really am. I simply decided who I wanted to be, and I didn't want to be that guy anymore. So I became this guy. I made myself, I formed myself, I molded myself into someone that can abide. Objective number 7. Number 8 is to maintain my balance in both mind and body. And that comes as a resulting consequence of the 7 previous objectives. If I can fulfill those, then balance follows. Really, if I can fulfill number 1. Number 1 is the most important. Being ready to die is the most significant. If I can just be ready to die, the rest, balance falls into place. It's just part and parcel. Okay, I'm going to read one principle. Yesterday, what did I read yesterday? I think I read The Season of Philosophy, didn't I? Yeah. Okay, so today I'm going to read I'm going to read principle number 29, script writing, which is on page 271 of the book, at least of the hardbound edition. That's the one I recommend. It has a little more weight and girth. Script writing, it's just like it sounds, like you're writing a script. Hey, this is perfect, because I was just talking about how I script write my own overt behavior, right? I mean, I'm not like this, what you're seeing right now. This is contrived. I'm script writing it. Life presents us always until death with an almost clean and clear canvas of whatever available time we've left. We may use this canvas to either live whatever life happens to us, or to take more active control of our days, hours, and minutes, in order to seemingly manage and guide our path according to our seeming will and in alignment with our hard-won and decided values, goals, and best practice. This is exactly what I was just saying. This script writing, in quotes, requires effort and imagination as well as optimism if we are to aim our living in the perceived and decided direction of virtue, and to make the most of whatever brief days we have yet to live, have yet the chance to live, experience, and hopefully enjoy. Why not take control? Why live out the inertia that has been gained of the fact that of instantiation into life, right? I mean, why not take control? But Kurt, you said you don't believe in free will. I don't. I don't. Just like I don't think that I have any. I never had. I never. I. Even though I'm taking control of my life to behave in a deliberate manner, I don't. I don't believe I ever had any choice other than to do that. That's all I could have done at this point in my life. It's a strange feeling to feel like to say I'm taking a choice, but I don't believe I have any choice. And it's less a fault of the fact or not of free will, and more simply an issue of grammar, right? There's no, our language isn't designed to couch, action, to couch decision, to couch agency in a life without free will. We just don't have the way to talk about it. So any tool that I use to talk about the lack of my lack of free will is going to sound like I'm talking like I have free will. Oh well, I accept that. Hashtag limits, right? Okay, with that, I'm done with my creed. Let's talk about the next 24 hours. It's a Monday, and I had already turned off all, like I said before, all of the promotions on my two online venues, eBay and YouTube. Nevertheless, I got a good handful of sales over the weekend, so I'll be busy. I need to ship orders today. The good thing about that is when all the promotions are off, those are very profitable sales. Because normally the way I have the store set up is that I put in a profit margin, a very decided and determined profit margin for both antiques and inventory items. The prices that you see in my stores, these are not arbitrary. They're based on my experience, and they're based on the margin that I need to put into place in order to then apply promotions, sales, coupons, discount codes, to bring it back to the point where I can actually be making a profit, or even if it's a very small profit. Not always, though. Actually, there are items in my store that are loss leaders that I have only in there in order to gain new profit, especially on eBay. Just about all of the merchandise items that you see on eBay, I make almost nothing on those, but I gain a customer, and that's the idea. So you see what I'm saying? So I had dialed it all back, and it remains all the tuning, all the promotions are turned off right now, except for the standing promotions that I have for my patron supporters and my YouTube members. Those are always in place. And by the way, those are cumulative and capitalized on top of any other promotions. What that means is, excuse me if I'm talking shop for a second, but just saying, if you're one of my members, or you're a supporter on Patreon, and you've got a 10 or 15 or 20% discount on my store, any other sales that are going on are on top of that, right? So you can get some pretty good savings over there. Enough talking shop. So what am I going to do today? Well, it's a work day. It's a Monday. I don't think we're going to do radio exercise, so I think I've got that free. I've got all of the Retiring in Japan video pretty much uploaded, ready to go. Time to turn my attention to work. But first, let me turn my attention to comments. Hi Tim, good morning. Weather check here in the UK at 9:38 p.m. is 19. Look, it's just about the same within the minute every day for your check. I think it's 9:38 yesterday too. I love it. For me, it's about the same too. I'm usually within 2 or 3 minutes of the check. 19.8 C and 65 humidity. 19.8, right in the green down. Whoa, you are in the green on both levels, Tim. You're going to have a nice, cool evening. It's an evening to have the window open, huh? Humidity hotting up. I think we're past over here, Tim, the hottest part. I think this storm that's passing through, I don't know if you can see the clouds moving overhead. They're moving fast. This is going to last for like a week, maybe or more. That's going to take us to mid-August, and I think we're going to be kind of on the other side. We'll have some hot ones come back, but I think summer has passed. I mean, the high point of summer has passed. Evelyn says, happy you be back at the live. Geez, working sure does get in the way of pleasure of life. It sure does. Yeah, you saw the live I had yesterday. Wasn't that a pleasant one? I think I found a really good situation with the camera there, having my little pig Katori burner. This right here. You see how it's got the mosquito repellent burning in there? Now it doesn't do much good in this wind, but what I did yesterday is I set up the other camera right inside the room with this, because I keep this during the day at the door. Here, I'll show you. I've got Rudy's. I put a comforter. Rudy likes to sleep next to the window all night long, so I always put a big comforter out for him to sit in, and I'll pick it up in just a second as we start, when we go out for a dog walk, and then replace it. But he's sitting in his comforter right now. You can see him right there. I closed the screen, but during the day, I put this right around here, and then I can work at my desk and keep this whole screen open, and it's very, very pleasant. And yesterday I took the camera. I took the camera and set it up in such a way that it was pointing out the door, protected from the wind and the rain. Yet you could see this is called a Katori Buta. Buta is the Japanese word for pig. So it's a Katori is this mosquito repellent incense. You know what? I need to get that in my store. I need a household item to add to the store. You see how it's kind of smoking there? It lets out this kind of a wafty incense, a very summery smell here in Japan. And it drives the mosquitoes away, which is really, really effective. It's harmless to humans, apparently, but it's not good. Mosquitoes and insects don't like it. So you can watch the mosquitoes. I can sit there and I can watch the mosquitoes come flying towards the door and do a U-turn when they smell this stuff. You know what, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll add this to the store this week, because I need to add a household item, this Katori stuff. Maybe I should add this to this Katori Buta, but this would be a tough one to offer for free shipping, because it's so heavy and big, right? I mean, this would cost $50 just to ship overseas, just the thing. But I could do it. I just have to pile on the shipping onto the price of the item. So, because I've already had people in the live yesterday, or in the past I've done it, and people have said, "Hey, what's that pig? I want one." So I'm glad you like that. So I'm going to do it today. As soon as I'm done with all this, Evelyn, as soon as I can move Rudy's bed, I'm going to set that up again and let it run again today. People really like that. I got like 11 new subscribers out of that one video yesterday, that one like 12-hour video. People like just tuning in. And I'm not doing it for subscribers, but it's incidental and interesting to note. It's nice to have more people part of the group. Okay. Tim says, main thing is you're enjoying what you are doing without the pressures from other people. I know people who love their job as a hobby and always envied that in many ways. Yeah, exactly, Tim. You've nailed it right on the nose. Now, what I've got to watch out for, Tim, and I would love to get the advice from any of you, is that I know myself well enough to know that I can go too far with this. Like, I deliberately made a point yesterday at the start of the morning. There goes a giant hornet. It was Sunday. I wasn't going to work at all yesterday. I wasn't going to work at all and do anything because I wanted to spend the day with my wife. But she wound up, basically taking the whole day and just resting on the sofa. So I wound up working, right? So I got to watch out, because I could easily, throw myself fully into this and go overboard too far the other way. You know what I mean? Evelyn says, oh, I like that. Enjoy your job as a hobby. Exactly what I'm doing now, but hadn't thought about it that way. Yeah, it's a good thought. Yeah, I know you enjoy what you do, Evelyn. It must be nice to do it without the pressure. And even if you do have to work with people, if it's kind of on a part-time basis, like I think I don't want to do it anymore, but I think I could even be a project manager again if I did it for 3 or 4 hours a day. Like show up in the morning, attend a few meetings, make sure the team are following through on their tasks, check on a few things, and then check out at lunchtime, right? And leave the excuse my language, I can't say it, the bull you know what, to the young people. I've trained myself after so many years. I'm not a person that cusses, so I've trained myself after all these years. I used to be a real cussing son of a you-know-whatter, but I trained myself. You know why? Maybe you'll find this interesting. The reason that I challenged myself to not cuss was because of Thoreau, and reading Henry David Thoreau and realizing that if you read Walden, there's not a single four-letter word in Walden. Now, maybe it was partially because, it wouldn't sell if anybody did that. But I began to read lectures of the 19th century thinkers that I really liked. And I realized that none of them relied on profanity to embellish their words. And I realized that profanity is like putting fructose corn sugar in your food to give you a quick hit of, of, of good taste, because nothing seasons language like profanity, right? I mean, you can sit there and spice up whatever you want to say with some four-letter words, and it kind of burns in people's ears, right? For some people, it burns in a good way. But I realized it was like putting artificial sweetener, and I challenged myself. I said, Kurt, I would rather not do that. I would rather season my language with more well-considered language, improved vocabulary, more thought-out ideas, rather than profanity. So I stopped. That was in my teens. I was like 19 when I had that thought, and I never looked back. Except the only time I ever really engaged in profanity was when I was raising Emily just down the street. We had an apartment just down the street here. And every night Emily and I would sit in the bathtub and I would teach her all the bad words and we would practice it. And I did that for a really deliberate reason, because I wanted her to, we didn't know we were going back to America then, but I knew that if we brought her back to America, that profanity is an important part of fluency in language, that and irony and sarcasm. So I engaged in irony and sarcasm and profanity with Emily all the time. My wife doesn't bother me. That kind of stuff doesn't bother my wife. And so that when we got back to America, and it worked out, when we got back to America, and she would hear somebody calling their friend, I'm going to use a bad word. I wanted Emily to distinguish the difference between someone saying, "You fucker," and "You fucker." It's different. And she wouldn't gain that understanding. Maybe she could understand it at an intellectual level eventually, but at a visceral level, unless she was exposed to it early on. So I gave her that in huge quantities every night at the bath, sitting there, doing that together. And I think it worked, because she can use profanity now like a native speaker. Tim says, funny, in the past year I've wandered on the dementia. I've lost something or completely gone out of the head where I've put something, and I think is the start of losing my mind or just absent-minded. Yeah, you and me both, Tim. I had another thing that happened, and this is not the first thing that happened. I was supposed to meet a YouTube viewer yesterday, Combustible Garbage, a long time. I mean, I know that name from back in the softypapa 1.0 days, and Combustible Garbage was coming to Shizuoka, and we were going to meet at 10 o'clock. It's on my calendar. I talked about it. I told Yumiko about it. I reminded Yumiko about it. And then yesterday morning, Combustible Garbage sent me a message saying, hey, it's raining like a son of a gun down in Shizuoka. Why don't we postpone? And I was like, thank gosh you sent me a message, because I completely forgot. And it's not the first time that that's happened. I mean, and I wasn't like that before. I wasn't forgetting stuff like that before. Now I can address this by tasking myself to look at my calendar every day, which is I've begun doing. But I felt really bad about it. And I feel bad, Combustible Garbage, if you see that I almost missed our meetup yesterday because I just simply forgot. So Tim, I hear you. I don't know where this is going. And it happens more and more often. Is it because maybe it's not dementia, maybe it's something to do with retirement and the slowing and the softening of the mind, perhaps. Okay, it should stop in just a second. I don't like this table to get wet, but let's see what happens. Evelyn says, for the past 3 years before my mother's passing, I would sit with her daily for hours. I would consider to stare at her and think, how am I going to avoid this happening to me in the future? Sorry, Avon. I don't know that you can avoid it, right? Other than, and I think you're okay with me saying this kind of stuff, other than, not living to go through it, which I don't think that's something either of us want to necessarily do, but I don't think there's anything you can do. We just have to, have to bear it, right? I mean, it's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to deal with. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And I don't. I know you weren't asking me for the answer. I'm just, you know, onboarding, running your question through my mind. I don't know either. Just, well, I guess I would. I guess, and I'm answering. I'm not answering it. I'm not trying to put words or thoughts in anyone's mind. I'm only answering it because it's an interesting thought experiment that you introduced it. I'm caveating that I'm trying. I'm going to give a response that I'm trying to make it, to let you know that I'm not trying to make, like, tell you what, struggling here. Sometimes I say stuff and I respond to people's observations, and it's a really interesting observation or a question like you just asked, and it's less about, and it's more about me trying to, run it through my own head, but it sounds like I'm giving advice. I don't think I'm really qualified to give advice, so I'm just going to say, enough preamble. The only way I would know how to deal with that is the Stoic way, which is to either to 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 attempt to recognize the extent to which I would have any control over such a situation, and then to apply my reason towards working within the confines of where I do have control, and then lumping the rest. And that was for the atheist to say, "Bless you, Evelyn, for being there for your mom." Tim says, "I watched your last vlog for Saturday, and I think, and was really impressed with Yumiko at the ball game. She killed those shots every time." Yeah, she really did, and that wasn't me cherry picking. That was me literally every time but once. She came up to because I didn't want to film anybody else. It's not good form or good to violate people's privacy. So I filmed my wife. And so every time she came up with it, I did it. And she was just nailing it. And I didn't even get the one. I missed one. You even heard me say in there, I was like, man, I wish we missed the one where she really nailed it. She's really good. Tim says, forecast over 33C for Tuesday. Wow. I think September will be the turning point. I see. I could be wrong, and we could be in for round two with Mike Tyson. This Mike Tyson summer for us too. I hope not, though. I've had enough. Evelyn says, beautiful weather in New York City today. Heat wave on the way. No, I gotta move this. It's making me choke. Sorry, Evelyn. It's sitting there right next to me. Heat wave on the way this week. Oh, you too. So Tim and Evelyn both have a heat wave on the way. Oh boy. Tim says, I think with the work, so long as the enjoyment is there at all times, once it leaves you because it's too much and maybe it's time to step back at times, the important thing is you don't have to. That's a good point about how to step aside. Now, I'm again applying your observation to my own situation. I'm really lucky that I can dial back the business. I can even, at a click of a switch, turn the stores off, right? So I can like literally, okay, I'm gonna take the summer off of my business. Now, of course, I'd lose the momentum, right? But I could literally do that. The important thing is you don't have to pressure yourself. I'm sorry, I missed that last part, Tim. Yeah. Evelyn says, once someone asked me what I do in retirement, I joked, say the F word more often because it gives me great pleasure. Huh. Evelyn goes on, my thoughts were exactly what you told Emily the other day, and end it before it got too late. Oh, okay. Oh, so okay. So yeah, you see, I figured you and I were of the same mind in that regard. Now, whether or not, I'd have the fortitude to do that, that's a scary thought. I think I would. Boy, but that's more of a deep thought than we need on a right now, do we? So let's let that one just go aside. Save that consideration maybe for when it's needed. But thank you, Evelyn, for pointing that out, though. It's helpful to me to know that there's others of a like mind. Sometimes I feel kind of alone in this you know, rank and stark perspective on life and death. Because there's almost nobody that is even interested in talking about this stuff. Which is kind of astonishing. Why? I think it would be a topic at, well, at least any dinner party that I'd want to attend. Okay, tonight's subjects, as we enter the main course, tonight's subjects will be the thoughts about the existence of free will, the or the lack thereof, the case for the existence of a soul, and our own readiness for death. And do you think you'd be up to the job should you decide that you want to get off the bus? I would love to be at a dinner party where those conversations are happening, but never happens, right? It's always politics and TV shows on the same page. All right, thank you. Thanks, everybody. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you for joining me today. It's always a pleasure, all of you who are here regularly. Be safe but not too safe. Take care.